Hi, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. I am so excited to present my newest set to you from Gina K Designs, which is coming out this Thursday, December 17th. It's called Twine Time, and this is a follow-up to my very popular triple play holiday set, in which I had a piece of tied baker's twine, and this image has just gone over so well with our customers, and I had such a blast stamping with it. I really wanted to create an entire set of twine, so you would have large greetings, embellishments, and different sewing themed items so you could create all kinds of scenes, but also just have sentiments that will work on any card. So excited about this set. Today I'm going to be making this interactive card. There are a ton of different ways that you could arrange the different elements from this set on the card front, but what's really unique about this card that I had never seen until very recently in all my years of card making is that you're actually able to make the recipient tie a knot in the middle of the card. And this would be wonderful for announcing an engagement or congratulating somebody on a wedding, or this sentiment here, friendship is a knot tied by angels' hands. And so that's what inspired this particular card, this sentiment that's in the set. I'll show you more of this set in future videos, but let's get on to the card. The products and tools that you're going to be using for this particular card are the Twine Time set. It's a clear set. You will also need some clear blocks. So I have a long one for this long piece of twine. So many different ways that you can arrange this on your card. And you'll notice too, all these different little elements, they can actually be strung together so that it looks like one continuous piece. That's really fun. You're also going to be needing some ink pads. I've got the Gina K Red Hot, Kraft, the Black Onyx, and the Moonlit Fog. Got a piece of the Gina K Twisted Twine. This is about 13 or 14 inches long. So you can cut it a little bit longer and then trim it afterwards, but I'll just show you some tips on how to kind of make that a little bit easier. And then just some sharp scissors. The sharper they are, the less that thread will fray when you're going to be threading it. It makes it easier, and it doesn't dull the ones that you use for the paper. And then just a hole punch. This is a 1/16 hole punch, or you could use maybe a piercing tool or a needle to make a small hole if you don't have a punch like that. Some markers that I'm going to be using today, just for some shading, it's very simple. I've got the EB1 and EB2 for the spool, and then the IG3 and the BG3 for the scissors and the shadow. And then finally, we're going to have a piece of Gina K Pure Luxury base weight white cardstock. And this is 4¼ inches by 11, scored at 5½. So I'm going to begin with stamping just this little love greeting. And you can use any greeting on this that you want, but I thought it worked well with the friendship theme. So I'm going to stamp this in the Red Hot right over that score. I'm not stamping very well today. Okay, lay that right back down. Okay, then I am going to turn this over and we're going to do the front. So I just put this on in just kind of a wavy line just to make it look like the thread had fallen on a table. And I'm going to stamp this in the Red Hot as well. And I'll put it about, a 1/4 of the way down so that I've got some room for some of the different pieces above it. And then I'm going to do this needle, and you can emboss this with some silver embossing powder if you like. That would look really realistic, but I'm just going to use the Moonlit Fog because I like this gray as a silver. And I'm just going to stamp it right there. Next, I'm going to use one of these little hearts. And it's going to look just like this is coming out the other side of the needle. Oh, I keep lifting up my stamp too early. Okay. Now I'm going to stamp the spool of thread. So there's two different pieces. You've got, move some of these pads out of the way here. I'm going to stamp the spool in the Kraft ink so that it looks like wood. And it has a top and a bottom. So I'm going to stamp the bottom first so that it looks like it's sitting flat. So I'm going to put that right here. And next I'm going to add the thread. Again, we'll stamp this in the red. And it just nests right in there perfectly. Okay, so I love that I can do this in any color that I need for my thread. And then I'm going to put on the top again in the Kraft ink. So just line that up. Pardon my head if it's getting in the way. So we'll color that in just a second. And then I'm going to add this greeting in the black. I just love that. It's so sweet. I have so many friends I want to send this to right away. And then last but not least, I'm going to use my Moonlit Fog for these tiny little scissors. And I actually have a really small little pair that I use, so it kind of reminds me of that. Okay, so there's our little scene. Very simple to create. So now let's just add a few shadows. So I'm just going to trace right under that thread. And just a very, very skinny one under the needle because it's so small. And then we'll put some under the spool and a little bit under that piece coming off. And then as you can see, the way that I've drawn this, it looks like the light is coming from this direction so that you're seeing just a little bit of that left side. So everything is going to be to the left of that line, or that side of the scissors. And inside here. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of shadow, or excuse me, color to the top and bottom of this spool. So this is just a really pale kind of beige color. And then I'm going to take the EB2. It's a little warmer, and I'll put this on the edge, the side of that spool. And then I'm going to take the IG3, and I'm going to use that to fill in the scissors. And I forgot it in the supply list, but I also, a fun thing that you can add to the little screw that holds those pieces together on the scissors is just a little bit of bling. So I'm just going to put on this little rhinestone, or you could use one of those little metal adhesive dots. And then I'm also going to use, I'm going to go back to my BG3 here. Where did I put it? And I'm just going to shade the side of this thread. So it looks like, again, the light is coming from that side just to keep it consistent. Okay, so you could add more if you want. I think I'm going to add just a little bit in here to make the little hole of the spool look a little bit darker. And you can always use that BG3 marker over your coloring to deepen that. Okay, so now let's move on to making the hole for our knot. Okay, so I'm going to go through both sides, and it's okay if they don't line up, but put it just right about there. Okay, and then I'm going to take my twine, and there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can start from one side, thread it through, then tie your knot, then go through the other side. I think it's a little bit easier though for you to tie a very loose knot to begin with, so that it's centered in the middle, and then you're going to put each of these ends through the hole. Okay, so I'm carefully put this through. Okay, so you're going to have that through on one side, tie the knot, okay, and then pull it to this side. And you just want to make sure that you have it pulled tight enough that when it's completely open, that the knot will be tied. But it's something that the recipient can display with it standing just open, and then your knot will be centered in the middle. So I'm going to do this a little bit longer and pull it out a little bit more. Pull this a little bit more. And then I'm just going to shut it, and I'm going to tie this, and then I'll snip off the end. But if you make it too short, it's going to be really hard to get your knot to tie, so just give yourself enough wiggle room for that. And you can leave this tail as long as you want. That's kind of cute, having it be a little bit longer, but I'm going to go ahead and snip it just so that it's a little bit more neat. And this is going to fit into, see, it's going to be just hanging loose. It's going to fit into your A2 sized envelope. So when the person opens it, you don't want to tie it yet, but it's all ready to go. So just loosen it back up before you put it in the envelope, and then just lay it flat. I hope you enjoy this idea, and you can apply this to a lot of different cards and different occasions. And I am just so excited once again to show you different ideas that I have for this set. Lots of options, really fun. Please join us for our release party at Gina K Designs, and visit Gina K Designs for all of our other stamps and inspiration on my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, and Stamp TV. Thank you for watching today. God bless.